Lesson 6.3, perform function operations and composition. Let's start with a little review. Please write, let f of x equal 2x plus 4. Find f of 2. We talked about this using direct substitution in Chapter 5. Whatever number's in the parenthesis is what you substitute in for x. This means f of 2 would equal 2 times 2 plus 4. And then we simplified the right-hand side. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 plus 4 equals 8. That means f of 2 equals 8. But then I ask the question, what is the domain for f of x? And domain means possible x values. What are the possible choices we could plug in for x? Because f of x equals 2x plus 4 represents a linear function, which just means the graph of a line, we can actually plug in anything we want for x, which means the domain can be listed as x equals all real numbers. You can plug in positive numbers, negative numbers, fractions, decimals, 0, and we'll always have an output. Depending on the type of function you end up with, however, the domain sometimes doesn't work. Over on the right, we're going to break that down. Please transition over to the right side of your notes and we'll talk about the possible restrictions that can happen with given functions. And what I mean by a restriction is a value for x that's not true for the function. Let's look at several options. The first type of function where we may end up with a restriction in the domain is if you have a fraction. So let's take 2 parts f of x divided by g of x. Many fractions work, in fact infinitely many fractions work, except when the denominator equals 0. So if you ever have a variable in the denominator, we have to check that. So what this means is that whatever is in the bottom, we know we can't have 0 as an output. That would be a restriction on your domain. The next type of function that could tentatively have a restriction in your domain is if you have a radical. Now, what makes a radical specific is the type of index number that you have. If the index has an even value, so that you're taking an even root, we can only take even roots when the value on the inside is greater than or equal to 0. So that means x would have to be greater than or equal to 0, or whatever's on the inside with x. However, if we're taking an odd root, remember we defined odd functions or odd roots back in lesson 6.1. You can take any odd root that you want, whether it's positive, negative, or 0. Therefore, if you have an odd root, there's no restriction, which means your domain would be all real numbers, kind of like the linear functions over on the left. The last type of function that we'll talk about that could tentatively have a restriction in the domain is if you have a rational exponent. Remember, a rational exponent is just a different interpretation of a radical up above. We define rational exponents as a base of a to the m divided by n power. And n is like the index, so the same rule will apply here as it did for radicals. If n is even, ultimately you're taking an even root of that base. Then that would mean your a value, whatever that is, has to be greater than or equal to 0. However, if n is odd, then there's no restriction. It wouldn't matter what the value is for your base, so no restriction. And we'll get into more specifics depending on the type of function that we actually work with in these types of problems. At this point, you should still have plenty of room between where it says operation on functions and the examples down below. Let's define operations on different types of functions. Operations are really just adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Therefore, operations on functions simply means a way to write those types of operations given 2 or more different types of functions. It says given f of x and g of x, notice the notation on the left. F plus g of x simply just means you're adding 2 individual functions together. And it truly is that simple. You would just be combining like terms. Now f minus g of x means f of x minus g of x. And you're going to want to be careful here, watching the subtraction for that second polynomial. So careful on the subtraction. Fg side by side of x means you're taking a product, f of x times g of x. You may need to FOIL here or distribute to simplify that product. And then f over g of x means f of x divided by g of x. And again, this is where we have to be careful. We need to watch the domain specifically for a restriction in that denominator. Remember, we want that rule, g of x cannot equal 0. Please make sure you have these definitions listed, and we'll take a look at some examples down below. Let's start with let f of x equal 4x to the 1/2 power and g of x equal negative 9 to the 1/2 power. Please write parts A, B, and C out and give yourself a little bit of room. If you have room to write part C over on the right of B, you're welcome to do that, or you can drop it down below. We will have 3 examples underneath this, so make sure you have room for 6 examples total. If f of x equals 4x to the 1/2 and g of x equals negative 9x to the 1/2, the first thing you're asked to do is find f plus g of x. Now remember, this simply means f of x plus g of x. If f of x equals 4x to the 1/2 and g of x equals negative 9x to the 1/2, we can add and subtract terms that have variables with matching exponents, and that's what we have here. To combine them, we're simply going to add your coefficients together. But if we add 4 plus negative 9, we would end up with negative 5x to the 1/2. Notice our variable doesn't change, just the coefficient out in front. Now over on the right, when we subtract f minus g, order matters. So make sure that we write f of x first minus g of x second. And we literally do that subtraction. 4x to the 1/2 minus g of x, which is negative 9x to the 1/2. Now we have a double negative. And when that happens, it ultimately changes it to plus. Therefore, 4x to the 1/2 plus 9x to the 1/2 simply becomes 13x to the 1/2 power. And that is the difference of those two functions. As we state the domain for each answer, we need to take a look at what our output variable has with it. Notice it's a rational exponent. So we have a rule that we have to focus on here. In example A, our answer was negative 5x to the 1/2 power. Because this is a rational exponent, we have to take a look at our index value, or the root. Notice the root is 2. That's an even number. That means we're taking an even root. For this even root to exist, whatever we plug in for x has to be greater than or equal to 0. Otherwise, it won't work. Therefore, to state the domain, we just use capital D. We know x has to be a number greater than or equal to 0. That way, when we raise it to the 1/2 power, we get a valid solution. And then we could multiply by negative 5. So there's your domain for part A. Notice for part B, we have a different coefficient, but our variable ends up with that same exponent. Again, because the denominator is even, we know this is only valid for the domain where x is greater than or equal to 0. We're going to write a lot with domain and eventually range throughout the semester. This is just kind of previewing the setup for that. All right, last but not least on this page, please write this down. Let p of x equal 6x and q of x equal 2x minus 4. We're going to find their product, their quotient, and then state the domain for each answer. Write this out first. These are the last 3 examples on this page, and then press play, and we'll walk through each of them separately. Example D wants us to find the product PQ of x. This simply means we're going to take each function and multiply it together. If p of x equals 6x and q of x equals 2x minus 4, we have to consider parentheses on this. To find the product, we'll have to distribute the 6x in to both parts. Now, 6x times 2x, 6 times 2 is 12, and x times x would give us x squared. Minus 6 times 4 is 24, and times x would equal 24x. The product PQ would equal 12x squared minus 24x. And now watch what happens with the quotient, p divided by q of x. Again, this simply means p of x divided by q of x. As we write that quotient, p of x equals 6x over q of x, which is 2x minus 4. Now we have to be careful when we cross things out. Unfortunately, we can't do this and this. It doesn't work that way. We have to be careful and mindful of that subtraction, and you know what's going to happen? I have to rewrite this whole thing. My marker doesn't erase quite as smoothly as I'd like it to, but that's okay. So we have to keep it 6 and 2. That 2x minus 4, we have to consider q of x as that entire response. Now, while 6x doesn't cancel with either of those two parts individually, we could factor. Yeah, factor. We haven't said that yet this chapter, I know. In the denominator, 2x minus 4 has a common factor of 2, and that would give us x minus 2 left over. Now that we've taken the 2 out and created a product with that x minus 2 parenthesis, the 2 is now finally fair game to cancel out with that 6 in the numerator, because 6 is being multiplied to that x. So 6 over 2 would create 3 over 1, and that reduces this fraction to 3x over x minus 2. And that's as far as that would go. The x values wouldn't cancel because, again, that x minus 2 is a group. It can only cancel when it has an exact match. And don't worry, we have an entire chapter devoted to simplifying fractions like this, but that's later on. Last but not least for this part of the lesson, state the domain for each answer. Now in example D, when we found the product, we end up with 12x squared minus 24x. So notice our exponent x squared is technically 2 over 1, and 1 is an odd root. So if it's an odd root, it doesn't matter about the 2 on the top. We can pick any number we want and square it. There's no restriction. And then this plain x with the 24 is linear. There's no restriction there as well. So if there are no restrictions, we state the domain like we did way up at the very top with linear functions. We can truly plug in anything we want for x in this answer. Therefore, the domain x equals all real numbers, which means we can plug in anything we want. Now, over on the right, with that quotient, we're not as lucky. We have 3x over x minus 2. Now, the 3x is in the numerator, and technically that's to the first power. There's no restriction on that part. But the denominator is where we run into trouble. We have x minus 2. Now, this denominator can equal a lot of things. We just can't have a value for x that makes it equal 0. Dividing by 0 is not a valid solution in a fraction. Therefore, to figure out what our restriction is on x, we literally say x minus 2 can't equal 0. And then we have to solve for x. To do that, it's pretty easy to get x by itself. I'm just going to add 2 to the other side. And notice it's not x equals 2, it's actually x can't equal 2. If we plugged in 2 in that denominator, 2 minus 2 would be 0. And we'd end up with 3 times 2 on top, which is 6 over 0. If you tried plugging that into your calculator, you'd get an error. So this is going to be the restriction. So then we write domain, x can't equal 0. And now what this alludes to, it's kind of implied. It means x can't equal 2, but it could equal anything else. And we're going to stop here for the first part of lesson 6.3.